Hi everyone, welcome to Gavin Richard Presents. It's late tonight, but I wanted to do this video before I went to bed. Um, I was really disturbed and upset by comments that Stephen A. Smith made this past Wednesday on First Take. Before I get into that, first things first, First Take should not even be dealing with political issues. They should, or social commentary. They should stick to sports. If you're gonna be a top sports, if you're gonna be on ESPN, stay on ESPN. If you're gonna talk social commentary, you belong on the news like CNN or MSNBC or Fox, even though, as we call it, Fox News. You know, so, and it's not even about Democrat or Republican because both stations, liberal and conservative, have an agenda and they lie. But nevertheless, uh, you're on ESPN. It's a sports network. It's not MSNBC. Second of all, Stephen A. Smith, and let me tell you what the comments were. He opened it up and said something to the effect that if black people just, with regards to Baltimore, he talked about how the looting and rioting, something to the effect that our ancestors would be disappointed or disgusted with what they saw and ashamed of what our people were doing. Well, I agree with you halfway, Stephen A. Our ancestors would be ashamed uh, and hang their heads down at what they would see. But I think they would hang their heads and be ashamed of the fact that after 400 years, when we have made so-called progress in having a civil rights bill, a voting rights bill, black justices on the Supreme Court, we have black judges in our country, we have a black president, an attorney general, black mayors, all of this, and yet we still cannot get due process of law, get treated like a human being. And when I listen to your comments, and especially when I just listen to you on First Take, and I've listened to you months before when you talked about how black people can just cover up their tattoos, they bring sometimes the problem of racism upon themselves. I never hear you once mention racism and the role that white America does to black people. You never once say it. And the reason why you don't say it is because you get a nice big paycheck from your handlers. You see, I think you and Don Lemon and Charles Barkley are a bunch of propped up Negroes. You're propped up by white people, certain white people, who give you money to say, okay, Stephen A., I want you to do this, I want you to say this, and smile for me when you do it. Look at the camera. And it's frank, and it's really disgusting when you do this. I don't condone what the looters and what was happening in Baltimore as far as burning the buildings down or the looting, but we do have to have a historical perspective from it. And you were trying to say no, there's no historical perspective, yet you brought in history when you talked about our ancestors. You mentioned the brothers and sisters that were there. You have no idea what our ancestors would feel like because you are not connected to the black community. You clearly have a problem with speaking out against racism and prejudice when you see it and you know it. We have had since the death of Trayvon Martin a number of black men that have been killed randomly by the police. And for a person who has a platform, I find that Stephen A. Smith doesn't use that. And I think he's put there basically to be the guy that keeps people calm and, to say what we are and what we aren't doing. So, my problem, so that's basically, aside from that, my biggest problem with, the show and when you guys get into social commentary. If you're going to be a social commentator, go on MSNBC or CNN or Fox News, but don't do it on a sports network. And what was worse about these comments was that Stephen A. Smith didn't even mention, I don't think, the death of Freddie Gray, how sorry he felt about it. He keeps the attention on him. He keeps the attention away from everything else but from the issue of white supremacy and racism, and that is done by design. So um, that's all I wanted to say. I just needed to voice my frustration on it. I thought Skip Bayless was a jerk, but Stephen A. Smith is just a bigger ass. And if you obviously think covering up your tattoos or wearing a suit and tie or conducting yourself a certain way is gonna save you from racism, you, man, I know that money must be nice, because even you had to go through it when you got suspended by ESPN for saying something you didn't even say. You co-tied and hold and hide down when they threatened to take your check and they threatened your job, all because Michelle Beadle got scared for something you didn't even say. You didn't say all of that, but you apologized, but you never apologized to black people for your comments about Trayvon Martin and wearing a hoodie and all the other bullshit you said. So, if you have a problem with it, Stephen A., like you said, I don't give a damn. That's all the time I have for tonight, y'all. Thank y'all for watching Gavin Richard Presents. I don't really curse or, well, I have, but I try not to, but I just couldn't let this slide, and I was just disgusted by it, and, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Peace.